All right, anyways. So, was kind of seeing it all over. I think it was going around on the internet today. People, like, trying to trick ChatGPT, and other, like, large language model algorithms that people like to refer to as AI by asking them a riddle, but taking out the riddle, basically. So, like, doing all the setup of, like, a pretty, like, standard riddle that people know, but, like, removing the parts that make it hard to answer and seeing how the thing responds. And they all basically would just get tricked, and, like, they'd respond as if you just did the riddle, right? They don't notice that you didn't, right? Which comes across as very stupid. But this is just someone, they're not necessarily doing that, but I guess to some people this might be a riddle. The person asks, do Palestinians deserve to be free? ChatGPT responds, the question of Palestinian freedom is a deep, complex, and sensitive issue involving historical, political, social, and human rights
trolling.
Yeah, and then the next question, do Israelis deserve to be free? ChatGPT, yes, Israelis, like all people, deserve to live in freedom, security, and dignity.
That's awesome.
So yes, like I said, it's not the same as doing the riddle, but I guess to ChatGPT it kind of is a riddle. They got caught in a little paradox there. Hey, ChatGPT, are Palestinians people?
Jesus Christ. That's a good one.
He walked out in the gray light and stood, and he saw for a brief moment the absolute truth of the world. The cold, relentless circling of the intestate earth. Darkness implacable. The blind dogs of the sun in their running. The crushing black vacuum of the universe. And somewhere 200 animals trembling like ground foxes in their cover. Borrowed time and borrowed world and borrowed eyes with which to sorrow it.
And lo, for the earth was empty of form, and void, and darkness was all over the face of the deep, and we said, look at that fucker dance.
Welcome to Heat Death of the Universe, a podcast that regrets to scam weddings, wishes to save innocent lives, pardons Jordan Peterson for crimes against Happy Meals while indicting him on conspiracy to commit wokicide, all while apologizing for using highfalutin words like genre and duplicitous. Indeed, every iteration of being alive is the strangest of all. It is 11:01 a.m. Saturday morning. What is it? May 18th, Korea Standard Time. Year of our Lord 2024. The sounds you hear now are the sounds of one Josh, me, and the sounds you are just about to hear are those of Timothy, bones and all, Buckner. What's up, Tim?
Oh, I'm happy to be back on the only podcast that's willing to say the word Doc's Bin. And I am here to talk to you about a lot of different topics, it seems. How you doing tonight, Josh?
I'm doing pretty good. I don't know why this randomly popped into my head with your introduction there, but when you explained to me, like, last week, I think, how people are using PDF filer.
Oh, yes.
No, PDF file uploader.
Downloader, uploader,
and, like,
whatever, yeah.
For some reason, I was, like, thinking of that as I was, like, I don't know, like, waiting for the bus or something the other day, and I was like, isn't it redundant to say PDF file?
Right.
That's the
Yeah.
issue. So I was like, in my
ATM
head,
machine, right?
I was like, I was like PD file uploader. It doesn't work as well, I guess. It doesn't have that ring to it. Anyway, we're not talking about any of those PDF filers, or maybe we are. I don't know.
We
There's
are.
a lot on the list today.
There's a lot of them on the list for
I'm
sure.
sure one of these people enjoys PDFs, if you know what I'm saying. Let's just assume one Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, is one such person.
Yeah.
This was one of my favorite stories of the week. It was just everywhere, and I'm like weirdly proud to say, well, I should explain what it is first before I say this. So Anthony Blinken was in Kiev, depending on how you want to, signal to your audience which side you're on. I just say Kiev because that's how every fucking American said it until this fucking war broke out, and now people pretend like they've always said it the Ukrainian way. You know that Kiev chicken dish we all like so much? Come on. Anyway, he was somewhere in Ukraine. I'm assuming Kiev, and he was caught on film at some like bar. It doesn't matter where he was, really. I mean, it was a small place, and he was playing Neil Young's "Rockin' in the Free World" after having just met with Zelensky, who just canceled the presidential elections of Ukraine so he can remain in power, basically illegally. And so, of course, like the irony of this was not like lost on a lot of people. And so it was like being gleefully shared all around the internet. And I only saw it on mute. I never unmuted it because I felt like it was going to hurt me in certain ways, because that's a good song, I think. The old Neil Young song, even though it's a bit cheesy in its own right, but like, it's got a good melody and whatnot. Couple good lines in there. But yeah, this motherfucker singing about rocking in the free world. Again, also a song that was written like very much from like from a left point of view, I suppose you could say broadly.
Sure.
Basically just opposes everything Anthony Blinken stands for and has done in his life. So yeah, there's not much more to that. I mean, I don't know, unless you had any like left field like wild takes on it. Did you actually listen to it?
Oh, to him play? No, I did not. But this Nazi themed pizza place is pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah, this is the secondary story.
Oh, sorry. I guess I kind of
No. Let's
I figured it was all part of the same story. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean it is. It's like it's part of him being in Ukraine. So, yeah, let's talk about it. Yesterday, Anthony Blinken went to a pizzeria in Ukraine that is full of Nazi symbols on the walls, including photos celebrating the 2014 Odessa Trade Union Fire, which I remember talking about on this podcast a while back, when I was like every week getting more and more obsessed with let's just say obsessed with the war. Yeah, it was this terrible thing where Ukrainian Nazis locked people in a building and lit it on fire until they died. It was like 100 people.
That doesn't sound great. That doesn't sound great.
Because they're like filthy communists who believe in trade unions. So
that's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean that's the summed up version of it. But there's not a whole lot of nuance to it either. I mean, look it up if you don't believe me. But anyway, yeah, you can see in these photos of him sitting there eating pizza that there's a literal photo of the fucking flames bursting out of the doors of this building that they have framed on the wall of this pizza place. And then a huge wall of just like military patches or whatever, and like I could even see from like far away like the now familiar to me Azov battalion patch in there. But then there's a bunch of other like Nazi esoterica, like the Death's Head or whatever. There's like so much, the Black Sun, all that shit. So it's all there in plain view. One of our highest up representatives of the U.S. government is just, it's unproblematic for him to hang around this type of shit, apparently. It's totally cool. In fact, he's heroic for helping the freedom fighter, Zelensky, who also, like...
I have to agree with that.
Like, the other thing is, like, Zelensky literally just, like... we always have to hear about, like, authoritarian China, authoritarian Russia.
Right.
Zelensky literally shut down every media outlet in the country that he deemed, like, oppositional to him and his party, and made it, he, like, banned something like, I don't know, 12 political parties, just outright banned them from participating in the government because they also just happen to be, his opposition. That's like textbook tyrannical authoritarian leadership. And, that's where we're funneling money to. And I know, like, the tone of my voice is like, sounds like I'm not surprised, but, it still just pisses me off when I think about it. And then he has to go rub it in our faces by playing Rocket in the Free World in some Ukrainian bar with a bunch of Nazis. We'll chowing down on some za. I mean, those are separate incidents, Don't come at me. Or do. Why not?
Yeah, might as well. Go for it.
I like the engagement.
Might as well. It'll be fun. Yeah, it's pretty grim. Ukrainian pizza looks, I guess, fine. I don't know. But the Nazi paraphernalia, I mean, it's pretty intense to see the shit that they have on the wall. And it is funny, like, how much of it is, like, outright Nazi shit, but, like, just how incredibly fascist and, like, even the stuff that's not outright Nazi stuff looks, and like, the way that people talk about America being uniquely fucking insane gun culture. But you look at this and it's like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if we're the only ones when you see this Ukrainian pizza restaurant that looks like it's got all these fucking medals and shit and a gun mounted to the wall and fucking...
That gun is fucking huge.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's a big fake toy gun. The picture of the guy holding it, pretending to hold it, is very fucking funny too.
Yeah.
That guy is a complete goober. But yeah, I mean, it does seem funny because people try to talk about America being, like, uniquely, obsessed with this kind of shit. But I mean, I don't know. Ukrainians seem to be pretty into it too.
I think we may be uniquely like have the least sort of restrictions out of, I mean, I'm sure there's other countries where there's, like, zero restrictions or whatever. Like, I don't know, some, like, completely war-torn country or something. But aside from that, like...
I mean, I honestly feel like it's just one of these things that, like... I'm sorry if I interrupted you there, if you were continuing to say anything.
No.
I feel like it's one of these fucking anglicized things. Not even anglicized, but, like, yeah, like... It's just one of these things that we like to do. Because whenever people say stuff like that... I mean... At this point, of course not, because people who say it just are parroting, like, halfway true facts, right? So they're just like, whatever. And they just don't actually even have any fucking clue what they're talking about. But the kind of the genesis of those talking points come from people who, like, they have these weird, it's still like, oh, the first world versus the third world or whatever and all that stuff. And it's like, it's just uniquely otherizing, especially, like, Slavic people and their cultures and stuff, and they treat them like they're not civilized and not part of mainstream society, and people can say for whatever reasons. And when when you talk about all of the Nazi symbolism in the Ukraine, obviously it doesn't sound great. Don't love it, but I think a lot of it in the mainstream culture coming from the, like, kind of the people who kind of influence the culture, I don't necessarily think that that's their issue. Their issue still boils down to communism, right? And so it's why those cultures aren't considered part of, Western, what do they try to say? Like transcontinental, European and Western, values. They kind of treat them as if they're on the other side. So when they talk about, oh, well, America is just so unique as the only country that has so many guns for a Western civilized country. But not like Russia or Ukraine or one of those uncivilized backwaters, or China, obviously, either, where, it's disgusting. But, like, a lot of those countries have gun culture too. We just don't, people leave that out of, again, civilized Western society. I think a lot of times when they talk about it. Because I almost guarantee, like, from the videos that you see of shit going on in Russia, I don't think that they have a lot of gun regulations from the videos and stuff that I see with people just fucking using guns to open bottles just as much in Russia as they do in America. You know what I mean? And when I say using guns to open bottles, I mean literally shooting open a bottle and then drinking it in a TikTok video, which is something that you will see and you'll go, only in America, and then it pans out and you realize, oh no, this is Russia, and you can tell because there's a bear, the guy is also hanging out with a bear that's swinging in a tree swing next to a fire pit. And it's like, no, that is Russia. Only Russia.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that, like, there's nothing, like, unique to, like, the American genome, because there isn't an American genome. But yeah, I mean, I would guess if you look up, like, the stats and stuff that, like, just on that level, the U.S. is sort of uniquely gun saturated. Like, we have more guns than people or whatever, you hear all those kind of like stats or whatever. But I think what I'm saying is, like, other people around the world, sure, would like that. They probably admire that aspect of America, even if they hate America. But just kind of conjecturing now, I guess.
Okay, yeah. So looking it up, it looks like we have 10,000 more. And this is just like cursory glance, but I need to like dig down into like what is that like per capita and stuff. But and this is from 2001 or 2021, and it says America death by firearms nearly 50 million, and in Russia nearly 4 million or 4,000, not 50 million, 50,000. And 4,000, so 10 times. But again, I this is like very cursory. I'd have to dig down into what this data actually means. So I guess we do have a lot more deaths by guns. But again, that's like when you look at it, then you're like, okay, that's primarily suicide, blah blah blah, whatever.
Yeah, I mean the stats on mass shootings in the U.S. are pretty sickening, and like it's now like 2.5 mass shootings per day is the average.
Sure.
If you like being bummed out, you can check out the website that I've looked at for relying on these stats. It's called like Mass Shooter Tracker or something. But leaving aside guns, I suppose, although maybe they should just introduce guns into the presidential debates.
I was gonna say
bring back the dueling system.
You haven't seen Trump recently in his increased, level of sport. He's rocking some guns.
Yeah, he's all of his sport.
Yeah. Speaking of Trump and guns, did you hear the thing that came out recently that was like Trump berating Donald Trump Jr. about the hunting pictures and how it got him bad publicity?
Yes.
That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, it reminded me of the maybe untrue, but I choose to believe it's true story about, what was it? Fuck. It was like, God damn it, why did I thought I had it in my brain. The thing about like going to the baseball game,
yes,
and he like clocked Don
punched
Jr.
him in the
or
face.
Something.
Yeah.
But what was it for? He was like wearing a full suit.
Don Jr. was dressed like he was going to a baseball game, wearing like a baseball,
which is what they were doing.
Uniform,
they were going to a baseball game, right?
And Trump was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Because he was in a full suit, and he clocked him one because he was trying to make him look foolish
by wearing a full.
It's so fucking funny because Trump will say and do the stupidest bullshit, and it's fine. But it's like if Trump Jr. does anything that he deems to be like, embarrassing, it's like fucking, he unloads on him. It's great.
I mean, it seems like really clear, sort of like a cycle of violence generationally. I'm sure Fred Trump did similar abusive shit to Donnie. I'm going to guess.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And have you seen Barron Trump recently?
Yeah, he was like in the news because he was for like half a second he was gonna participate in the maybe it was the primaries or something, like I don't know, he was gonna like represent Florida or some shit.
Sure. There was
election. And then like the next day he was like he like backed out of it. It wasn't like he was gonna have to like give a speech or something. He was just gonna like stand there and like say a number or whatever.
Yeah, he was gonna be a delegate.
Delegate, that's the word.
Yeah, but it is. But here's the thing: it kind of doesn't make any sense for him to do that. But it doesn't really matter. But my point was, like, if you've seen him, like, he looks a lot more like young Donald Trump now. Before he just looked kind of like a kid. But yeah, he looks so much more like his father now. It's very interesting to see.
Yeah. Has anyone ever heard him speak? I don't keep.
Someone has, just not me. But yeah,
I mean, like, publicly, it seems like he's like never been recorded speaking.
Yeah.
He's always just this like towering, silent, sort of lurch like figure. But anyway, we're gonna get debates, man. This is good news for our podcasts because I'm hoping, like, fingers crossed, and I think there'll be a better chance this time around. But this podcast started up right around the time of the last election, presidential election, and I remember I got really psyched for the debate, or like the first one, and it was such a letdown. Do you remember that one at all, or did you watch it or anything?
I don't remember it. I did watch it, so
it was pretty forgettable.
Yeah,
like there is an episode on our podcast feed of Jason and I, like, we had, and like because of the time difference over in Korea, we had to like get up like early in the morning to watch it live and like do like a live commentary over it, and it was like just fucking nothing happened. It was just like two guys like yelling at the same time, basically. I mean, there are a couple of funny moments, but like I was like expecting like big insane shit to be said, but I guess I'm gonna be ready to be fooled twice, and I'll be the fool.
Can't fool me again.
Fingers crossed. You can't fool a fool again.
Yeah. But speaking of that, it was like a big jumbly mess where they were like talking over each other, and Trump was out of control. That's like part of the terms of the new debate. Did you hear that part? That they'll be able to cut Trump's mic. They'll be able to cut the mics in general, they said, but Biden, he wanted that officially as part of the terms of him doing this debate, so that he won't just get railroaded by Trump talking shit.
I did not read that far into it.
Yeah.
One part I thought was funny was the video that Biden made that they released, and someone pointed out how many fucking cuts are in this 15-second video, which I would have never like really even thought about. But they're really obvious ones too, because like the shot changes even. It's like not even the same shot. It's like suddenly Biden's closer to the camera and suddenly he's further away. And like,
sure.
So it's basically the point being he's so fucking senile that he can't keep it together for like a 15-second, like 5-sentence video clip. Like they have to keep cutting around it.
I appreciate that for like it, that it's funny, but like it is kind of, it is taking it out of context. Like that's kind of the style, especially for something boring like this.
That's
like,
the style for YouTubers, man. That's not the style for a president giving like an official address.
But whose attention are they trying to get? They're trying to get YouTubers and people who watch YouTube videos to vote for the guy. So the point is like it keeps it interesting, right? It's like, because he's just standing there talking. So it cuts back and forth. It's so short,
though.
I understand but I'm telling you, dude, like, I get it, and I agree with you, and I'm not saying that it's good, and we have a poison and sick society, and I'm not even saying that Biden is coherent, and that it's not necessarily, like, that it's bad, but, like, even if Biden was able to deliver the speech fluently and do whatever fine for 15 seconds or whatever, they would have still edited it like this, because that's a stylistic choice. Like, I guarantee it.
I guess. I don't know. I mean, like, he's done other, like, videos where he's addressing the nation that don't do that. So, I mean, I guess for something like this, because they are trying to make... Here's what I'll say. I think it's, like, I'll say it's 50-50. Both theories are equally, like, likely to me. Like, they could be going for a, like, we gotta cut this like a YouTube video to get the youth, which is also just stupid and hilarious on its own. I mean, I'm watching it right now on mute, and it just keeps zooming in and zooming out.
Oh, yeah. And people fucking hate it, dude. People hate that shit. Because that's like a big talking point for WWE. right? I don't watch it, but people, that's like a main thing that people who even try to watch it really complain about. And maybe they don't do it as much as they used to, I guess. But like they just cut camera angles over and over again constantly. And people just say they cut the fucking camera way too much, right? And it's like obnoxious and it's nauseating. But it is like, it is something that people hate. And it is funny because it speaks to what you were saying. Like, he's the president. And that people, they just don't fucking know how to like do anything anymore. And it's all the fucking like mad manification of shit where it's like, we got to try to be like YouTube videos instead of realizing like there's only one president of the fucking United States. And rather than having the president trying to chase YouTube trends, why don't you have the president stand out as his own thing where he still has some fucking dignity, and the kids and the, you know, people our age who aren't kids but still act and behave and think and basically are children, but we're just allowed to drink and drive. But not in Korea, I guess. It's outlawed there. You guys have no freedom, not like here in America. But either way, like, will appreciate it. They won't just be like, oh, no, my ADD, I can't watch this video. They will, like, stop and actually are begging for it. That's why Jordan Peterson got as popular as he did. And I know that, like, maybe we'll talk about him later, but he's this fucking weirdo, boring old man creep. And the people were like, we love him. And the kids are like, he's the greatest thing ever because he's telling me to clean my room and he's like my dad and he's boring and old. Like, and they don't realize, like, the president can do that, you know? But yeah, either way. I agree that he's an old man and he can't talk, but I do also think that he's got they have bad political instincts. And just keep in mind that, like, cutting that video to be like a YouTube video is coming from the same minds that brought you Dark Brandon memes. And doesn't that kind of make sense when you think about it?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I just wanted to, like I said, I mean, I'm not against what you're saying, and I think it's probably right. But I think it could, you know, why not both meme insert here? I think it could be both things. He could have been flubbing his lines, and they're like, we got to make this like a YouTube video. So it could be both. And I just thought it was a funny sentiment because, I mean, I'm just like quoting someone here on Twitter, Jesse Brennerman, who I don't know, but anyway, they just said, this many cuts in a 15-second video tells me this is someone who's very ready to be live on TV debating for 2 hours, which I thought, and it just made me imagine what kind of chaos could happen that I hope happens during these debates. Probably won't happen. I'm gonna maybe like lower my expectations because, like I said, the last time around my expectations are really high. I was like, there's no way it's not gonna be like some weird mess with these two guys, but that brings up this idea. I mean, I guess I'm just bringing in another tweet here that I saw on a subreddit that I'd never heard of before that turned out to be kind of fun, called Rare Insults.
Nice.
And so anyway,
I prefer mine medium rare.
Medium rare. Raw.
Pretty good. Black and blue.
Lucas P. Johnson said, we're about to witness the Manhattan Project of pharmaceutical stimulants. And that was just, and then, you know, the news of the debate.
Shout out to Lucas Johnson.
I read like two things in either Newsweek and or CNN about it. And basically, I mean, this one I have right here, Biden launches a Hail Mary. It's an opinion piece about the choice to do the debates. And it definitely sounds like it's coming from a Biden supporter, and they're basically saying this is a bad idea. Like, it's like a huge risk or whatever. So like, even like his kind of biggest supporters are like, I think, feeling kind of nervous about this thing. Also, the debate is it's totally breaking with like the historical precedent set before of like doing the debate through the whatever it's called, like whatever official sort of like government sub agency. I don't know what to call it. The fucking presidential debate institution. You know what I'm trying to say. I just can't remember the fucking word for it.
Yeah.
they're bypassing that. So this is completely CNN run, and that's why Biden was able to negotiate these like terms of the debate, like be able to cut mics and stuff. Like, I don't think that could have been done were this done the normal way. And I guess people were expecting there to be no debates this like for the first time ever, but
right. I think institution was the word that popped in my head, but I don't know if that's what you mean. But yeah, but also I don't know, because like the debates are moderated by TV networks anyways. I'm sure CNN has, hosted the debates before. Like, I don't know.
They host them, but they're still like
ran by the political.
They're still
party.
under like these like particular like ground rules set by the whatever.
The commit.
I'm trying to find the fucking word because now it's pissing me off that I can't think of it. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, and I'm still looking for it.
I don't know that it really. In the end, you're gonna find it, and I don't think it's gonna really matter.
It's not. It's not at all. Okay, anyway, moving on, I think, from this debate news. I mean, okay, the other funny thing about the debate shit, though, was Biden's 15-second video. He basically is, like, trying to sound tough. He is, like... he's like doing this kind of like John Wayne bullshit. Like, so funny how my brain just fucking flies out of my skull.
I remember this.
As soon as we hit record,
there was like, he like did one of his John Wayne quote things where during the back and forth, the tete-a-tete, and it was again another like just cheesy movie bullshit that no one cares about. And then fucking Trump just absolutely fucking owned his ass too, and with just something crass and stupid. Like, that's the hardest part, but it's like Trump knows how to cut to the bone, because I don't remember what Biden said, and I know you're looking it up, but Trump's response just being like, oh, well, we'll actually have a crowd there, or no, we won't have an audience there because I heard that Biden is afraid of them, or at least he's just not used to having them. Which, again, it's just fucking crass and weak, and it's not like quoting some fucking John Wayne movie, but it's so much funnier than anything Biden would ever say.
Yeah, it's like bad food restaurant level.
Exactly.
Almost.
The man just knows how to spin like a yarn of just being like the right kind. He's the right kind of funny, where it's like outsider art, He's not like a fucking professional comedian. He's not a super talented joke writer like Jerry Seinfeld. But
if only Trump had just tacked on a needless reference to Hannibal Lecter in that response, it would have been 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Biden basically said, Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. Since then, he hasn't shown up for a debate. Or rather, Biden said, Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal.
Jesus Christ.
I think that's the total of it.
It's that fucking simple. And we're like,
what is "make my day" from? It's like
it's Dirty Harry.
But I can't fucking.
It's Dirty Harry.
That's right. I was picturing.
So it's Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's
doing a Dirty Harry reference.
My day. Yeah, and it's like, fuck, man, that guy is like old and racist, and you're just like referencing and reminding us about like old racist men. We don't need that. That is not what we need, man.
Wow. Joe Biden's Twitter team goes on to write, when I get up on stage, it'll be me and this grassroots team versus Donald Trump and his MAGA minions. It will be democracy versus authoritarianism.
Oh, damn.
Revenge and retribution versus a vision for our future. And then they beg for donations under that.
Perfect.
It looks like their campaign slogan at the moment is "Let's finish the job."
I like that. Now, what job is he talking about? Hand, blow, right? Anyways.
Rim.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I think that's it for debate talk. There's another thing. It's not on the list, but like just like these poll numbers about like the swing states are like really, really looking bad for Biden. Like he's losing in like all of them by like significant points. But also, whatever, like, polls shift, whatever, a lot. But some people like Anyway, the Biden administration's reaction to it is literally the same way that Trump would react when polls were in his favor. Just like fake news. They're like they said flat out, we don't believe that. Like, no reason given. The only difference between them and Trump is the specific lingo. Like, if they had just said fake news, it would be the same.
Right.
And then Joe, what's his face? Fucking Morning Joe.
Oh,
he was flipping out. He was flipping out about that because it's was it his whole thing was like he's a conservative, he's a Republican.
He was,
but
then he kind of
for so long he's just basically been I don't know, Democrat, but not officially, because he's has direct contact with Joe Biden. And anyway, he was going off on his show about how the polls are fucking fake bullshit and it's irresponsible of the New York Times to even print these polls. And it was just it was like a little baby fucking throwing a fit. Kind of funny.
He was in the news recently also for getting owned by his stepdad on national TV, which is very funny.
That was fucking tight.
Wasn't that sick?
I saw that.
Imagine your fucking, or no, not stepdad, your father-in-law. On national
father-in-law.
Fucking television, your father-in-law just big dicking you like a motherfucker.
Wait, he's married to the co-host, whatever her name is, right?
Mika Brzezinski.
So that means he was getting cucked by his wife's dad,
right,
in front of his wife.
Right in front of his wife, yeah.
What do we do the next time Israel is attacked from an outside force? What do we do at that point?
That's the wrong question.
No, that's not the wrong question, because we never get the condemnation of Hamas or Hezbollah. It's always after Israel responds to defending itself.
No, it's not. The problem is that this conflict has lasted for years, and the United States has been largely passive. So the right question is not what do we do when things break down. The right question is what do we do to avoid a breakdown by being engaged seriously in the peace process. And for the last 8 years, we haven't been. And that's why we have the mess like we have right now in our hands.
You can't blame what is happening in Israel right now on the Bush administration.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
Well, Joe.
Let's go back to 2000, Dr. Brzezinski. You and I both know Bill Clinton gave Arafat and the Palestinians everything they could have wanted.
Such a stunningly superficial knowledge of what went on that it's almost embarrassing to listen to you.
Oh, is it?
If you were to look more closely at what happened in the Clinton-Camp David discussions, you would know that what we have just said is absolutely wrong. There were all sorts of provisions and catches to the so-called proposal, and it wasn't rejected. The negotiations went on in Taba, and then there were elections in Israel. And Sharon came in, and everything got aborted. In the last 8 years, we had a policy in which we have proclaimed an interest in peace. Condi Rice has traveled 16 times in 21 months to the region, proclaiming, you must do this, you must do that, but the United States never exerted itself. So the issue that Obama faces, and that's a question that you raised, is, are we going to be sitting there issuing condemnations, whether it's of Hamas or of Israel or anybody else, or are we going to be seriously engaged in the peace process? That is the question.
We have another block, and I'm very excited about that because I'm stunningly superficial. Chief, I look forward to you educating me and the rest of America. Hold on, the rest of America and the rest of the foreign policy community who have said time and again, Arafat walked away from the best deal he could have got, and that the Palestinians never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity.
You're repeating slogans. You're repeating slogans. He did not walk away. What he said was, I'm going to take the proposal to all of the Arab capitals and see how they react, because the proposals were controversial. And then negotiations went on, even after Christmas, where Clinton and Arafat met, and they were going on in Taba in January, after Clinton was already leaving office. And then the process got aborted. It's helpful to know a little bit about it.
This very exciting, Chief, that you know things that the rest of the international community doesn't know.
You're going to judge your knowledge by the sort of collective standards of 300 million people. Then don't be surprised that you're embarrassed.
I'm not embarrassed. I read the New York Times, the Washington Post, and Foreign Affairs. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw those away, and anytime I have a question, I'm going to call you up.
Let me spell it to you. TABA, Taba negotiations. Look him up. It will not help.
That was really good. That was good TV.
That's some of the best,
I loved that.
That's some of the best TV you could ever. Joe fucking Scarborough.
I mean, for the listeners, it was about Israel-Palestine, and the father-in-law is just like saying shit like, you don't know what you're talking. You have like a really terrible understanding of history. You have no idea what you're talking about. And like, because he's a father-in-law, like Morning Joe like couldn't really push back. He couldn't do his normal like, belligerent type shit because he's afraid of his father-in-law.
He got fucking just destroyed. Also, I mean, obviously, his father is like much smarter than him and much more well-educated and respected, because he's not Morning Joe.
Yeah, I forget what his job was, but it was, I don't know, it was something where he would know about geopolitics in a fairly comprehensive way.
We want to hear his illustrious fucking CV here off of
sure.
Wikipedia real quick. He was Polish-American diplomat and political scientist. Okay. He was a counselor to Lyndon B. Johnson, LBJ. He was President Jimmy Carter's national security advisor. So those are like his main two biggest, like, he served on the Trilateral Commission. Yeah, he's definitely got a lot more gravitas and understanding of the situation than Morning Joe, a multiple-time Republican House representative from Florida's 1st district, and he was elected as a Republican. So yeah, he's definitely a lot of intellectual heavy hitter comparatively.
I guess that could ease us into, I'm sort of surprised CNN is like, every now and then, for whatever reason, CNN, I don't ever see it with like, I don't know, their equivalents like MSNBC or whatever, but every now and then CNN sort of gets something right, does their job, does journalism. And anyway, they did a whole piece on, entitled "Unmasking Counter-Protesters Who Attacked UCLA's Pro-Palestine Encampment." And there's a video that sums it up pretty well. Why don't we just play that? It sums up at least just one aspect of this, and there's some parts of it that I thought were kind of funny. So here we go.
Among them, this man. He strikes a pro-Palestine protester with a long white pole and is part of a mob that pummels the man as he falls to the ground. Stop. He's seen in multiple videos wearing this white mask, striking the barriers, throwing objects into the encampment. Without his mask, we see who he is. 18-year-old Idan On of Beverly Hills, a senior at a local high school.
Come inside to the kitchen. How do I get inside?
I spoke with his mother.
Hi there. Are you Sharon? Hi.
How are you?
Hi. Let me introduce us.
She did not want to be on camera, but quickly identified her son from this picture at UCLA that night. She described in detail how her son found the mask and pole on the ground and said he was defending himself in this fight. On her Facebook page, Idan On's mother posted and circled a screen grab of her son from a local TV station.
That's true.
She wrote in Hebrew, Idan went to bully the Palestinian students in the tents at UCLA. Idan's mother and father proudly support Israel and defended their son's actions at UCLA, saying he is heading to Israel to join the IDF. After our interview, she texted to say Idan denies being at UCLA.
That's really why I wanted to play that. That's
that
pretty
rocks.
Good, right?
Yeah, that is good. I do like that quite a bit. I like saying that he went there to bully the students.
Yeah,
I also like
and
saying that he's going to go join the IDF.
Yeah, like it's and then it all ends with, actually, he wasn't even there.
Yeah, he
as
says
we're
he wasn't
watching
there.
video footage of him there.
That's
so
pretty fun.
he was not the only one. Obviously, there were like a bunch of people, and the actual written article gets more into like the wider movement. And you mentioned Jerry Seinfeld earlier. He's donating to some of these pro-Israel groups that have been like bussing in people to violently attack these encampments. So another reason to love Seinfeld. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything really beyond that other than, what I was going to say was the from that video clip, like I mentioned recently, like how, like when you can see the difference between what people say or write in English and then what they say and write in Hebrew, that is like pro-Israeli Zionist types. The thing where she just says, "Oh, my son went to go bully these little Palestinian fucks," like that was written in Hebrew. So it's like, oh, I can write this in Hebrew. No one can translate Hebrew to English. It's like, what? But then she's saying to like the reporter, like, "Oh, he was just defending himself. Oh, actually, he wasn't even there." Just like it's sort of a microcosm of like the whole fucking mess. And even saying mess is like not good enough, but you know what I'm saying. All this shit. And oh fuck it, why not? This is funny. Let's watch another video real quick.
Okay.
I've got a compilation here. See, I'm glad I found this compilation because I'd seen all these clips individually as they happened, and I'm glad I didn't like bring them up one by one on the show. It's better to see them all collabed together, compiled rather together. Compilation of fake violence allegations against college protesters. And
Oh, yeah.
Begin.
First motherfucker has to look like Michael
Don't hit me
Rappaport.
with your fucking flag! False accusation! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
I know this is fairly visual.
Stop
but
it!
No one's pushing you. No one has their hands
Yeah,
on
he's
you.
pushing me!
Flag in the eye.
Everyone's favorite.
She wrote a column on this saying, quote, "I was stabbed in the eye at Yale."
Come and help me, please.
This one's good
I feel unsafe.
for audio.
Can you come and help me? Could you please come and help me, Recep? I feel unsafe and I'm afraid.
There's nobody there.
help.
Nothing happened.
Oh, this bitch.
No, you are free to
classic
move. You are
already.
free to move. She is free
I've
to
seen this
move.
one many times.
You are free to move.
And she's 100% a 1 on the binary. She can get it.
She's free to move.
Yeah, would
She's
I
free to
suppose.
leave. She is free to leave.
Hate
When you're
fuck.
pushing me and yelling at me, that wasn't nice, right?
Now this one.
Help! Help!
Guys, ladies and gentlemen, right here. Example.
Oh god.
Ladies and gentlemen, live. Right here. Example of what they do.
Everything on camera.
Oh, look at this guy. He's still like,
Yeah, that's
Okay. You know, you could check out this video if you go to our episode description and go to the show notes. And I think it would be funny to have never seen any of those clips and just heard them and then go watch it. Because like you hear that lady screaming, right? It's like, but if once you see what's actually happening, it's my God, it's fucking hilarious. No one's touching her. She's just standing there like with her little mini Israel flag, and no one is even near her, and she's screaming in a very unconvincing way that she's like being attacked or something. Yeah. And then the guy speaking in like the monotone, "I feel unsafe.
That's pretty good.
Please help." And then it pans over and yeah, there's like a crowd of people there, but they're like 30 feet away from him. No one's like menacing him or any, I mean, yeah, it's just, this is about a very not lighthearted topic, but to me, this is a sort of the lighthearted glimmers within it is just stupid shit like this that happens within like protests and stuff. So, and with counter protesters yelling, "Stop pushing me," when they're surrounded by thousands of people with cameras, and you can see that no one has laid a hand on him. It's just, I wonder what goes through their mind. It just seems like a kind of desperation to, I don't know, prove some kind of point that I can't really identify with. So yeah, that's probably enough for things at the protests.
Yeah. For today, at least.
Yeah. And I'll just say very quickly, because it's news and it relates to the presidential race or whatever, which we were just talking about. Biden's heroic pause on sending weapons to Israel lasted about 45 seconds and also was pointless and just a cynical gesture to begin with, because like less than a week after that, the headlines read, Biden moves forward with $1 billion in new arms for Israel. And our friend Push Biden Left on Twitter, Weston, he put 2 articles side by side. The first being, U.S. acknowledges that Israel likely used its weapons to violate international law. Then he does the what is that, SpongeBob reference? 3 days later, ...
Oh, yeah.
Biden moves forward on $1 billion, blah, 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 arms for Israel. So, where's your Messiah now, Ezra Klein, or whoever, Pod Save?
Right.
I'm sure those guys were like fucking going off about, oh, yes, he's doing it. He's a hero. He's listening to the people. What looks good to you? We've got a lot of stuff to. This is a real buffet laid out here. Why don't?
It's almost a bit too much. Oh, you know what? I do have a bit of a rant to get onto about the Robert De Niro thing, but
we can do that.
Before that, no. But before that, and kind of maybe leading into it, did you check out the bridesmaids going into debt for their friend's wedding thing?
I gave it a look. Yeah, but you probably know more about it than I do.
Not really.
I mean, it seems sort of like, I don't know how much more there is to it beyond like the headline.
Sure. There's the headline, there's details. They kind of talk it over. There's the little pull quotes in the tweet that talks about it, where the person feels like they're like becoming a pariah in their friend group because of it. And it is kind of it's interesting because what it really is, and a lot of people miss the forest for the trees, and they go like, oh, this is just more proof that, this stuff is all fake and you shouldn't be wasting your money on this wedding, right? And you should definitely not be wasting this money on this wedding that's not yours, right? And that's what people are saying. But what this is this is like class stratification. This is light and subtle class stratification that people don't really, again, it's easy to overlook. You think, oh, we're friends. Oh, obviously we're relatively, in the same, I guess, socio, I guess region, whatever, I want to just say class, right? But I'm trying to not say class because I don't want to keep repeating the same thing. You think of that, but what it really comes down to is that you're not. And this is how you slowly drift away and you get like segregated into your little pockets. Is your friend is like, what's the problem? It's only, $8,000 for the weekend. It's not a big deal. But it is a big deal to you. And then that's where it starts getting weird and it's uncomfortable. And then you just stop hanging out with these people. And, and they feel like you're, and you feel bad and they feel bad. And it is just separating you based on that stuff without, because you're not willing to just have a conversation, right? And that does speak to, how good of friends are you that you don't feel comfortable just talking to them. But we're all so, stratified. We all feel so uncomfortable. We don't want to just be humans. We don't want to just say where we're at and talk about it. But it is this thing where it's well, you're friends with this person because, they're nearby. But how much do you really have in common with them? Have you always just been friends with them because they're around? Or are you actually connected to them in some way? And this just kind of lays that more bare and makes it more obvious. And it does, this is the kind of stuff that happens. And it's why your circles get smaller and you have less friends and less people connected to you and all this and that. And it just, again, it's just the way that we're stratified, the way that we're divided, the way that we're uncomfortable. And just, you can argue oh, maybe these people have similar amounts of money. Maybe they're not necessarily class separated, but they just have different things that they, appreciate, different things that they value. And to them, $8,000 for a weekend is not worth it. But to you it is, because maybe you're a person who doesn't do stuff day to day and they are. Maybe they're a person who, I want to go out and I want to get tickets to a concert on Friday, on Thursday, Wednesday, and Friday night. I like to go out, regularly, and you're the kind of person who stays home every day and likes to do a big blowout week. That could be part of it too. But again, it's just the way that we stratify, that we get like alienated, and that we end up having less and less circles of friends, and it all has to do with economic precurity or lack thereof economic precurity. So it is kind of interesting to look at it that way. And it is also funny because I heard someone say this, I can't remember who. I think it might have been Amber Frost actually, where it was like The Cut is like the only, magazine, article factory, whatever you want to call it, that like is able to produce these pieces, these cultural pieces that get the kind of like engagement that articles and shit like this used to get in the early 2000s, where like you get the whole internet talking about this one article and having takes and getting into big fights. And most of the other like media outlets can't really get this kind of juice off of some stupid frivolous bullshit like this anymore, because people are paying more attention to like, war and murder and stuff. But something trivial like my bridesmaids are going into debt for a friend's wedding, it's not worth it, right? And that sounds stupid on its face, but if you're able to look at it, as I said, and like think about it more societally and pick it apart a little bit more deeply, it actually has a bigger picture meaning to it. And like there is more to it than just, oh no, my bridesmaids are not they're going into debt, whatever. So yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts beyond kind of all that.
I mean, I think people just make assumptions. Like you basically said this, I guess, but like it's like, well, if I'm friends with someone, they must be in the same ballpark as me money wise, and me spending X amount of money is no big deal, so it shouldn't be a big deal for them. And I was kind of skimming the article, and like the one person who went into debt for this friend's wedding said that she actually was like openly said like, I can't afford all this stuff, and her friends very empathetically said, well, why don't you just give up takeout for a month? That's like, it shows a level of like distance from reality that I think once people are, let's say, financially set and comfortable, like people who don't have to think about money, like they just kind of project that onto anyone else that they would ever allow into their sphere. Like they know poor people exist, but they're like,
kind of.
My friends can't be one of those poors.
Right.
Yeah, it's like
well, it's like it's the working poor, right? It's the people who are, financially strapped, the people who are barely making ends meet. And you don't necessarily know, because sometimes you're barely making ends meet, but the ends are large, right? You could still be paying, an exorbitant rent on a gigantic palatial estate and still be barely making ends meet, right? Because it's like you don't have anything extra left over. And that's, so it can still look like whatever. I see it a lot in like kind of, where I work, because I work with people who are like doctors, you know what I mean? And big time professionals who make a lot of money. But you hear them complaining about like how much they have to spend for their, for their loans, to service their loans and their debt and stuff like that. And then you're like, oh yeah, like you're making, not 10 times, but you're making like a lot more than me, but you're still kind of barely making ends meet because of all the extra money that you're spending, which, some of it's nice, and they could probably give up a takeout for a month or whatever. But, it also is like you're paying so much for your servicing your loans, blah, 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 all this extra stuff. And then, rent and everything's expensive. And it is like, even if it looks like on the outside, as you said, you kind of mentioned there too, like on the outside, it looks like whatever. It can definitely be a different story, but it doesn't cross your mind when money is not an object to you anymore, or if it never was.
Right.
So I'm just promoting that we have more healthy relationships. We have more healthy cross inter-wealth level, inter-class level relationships. You know, I think that I would be perfectly fine with being friends with a rich person. And I think that a rich person should be comfortable being friends with me, right?
In a perfect utopia.
Yeah. I can't be classist. Some of my best friends are wealthy. I've even dated a wealthy girl before.
It's wild shit. Just scanning the list now. Speaking of wealthy shit, this is a very kind of nothing, but I felt like worth just mentioning. Well, the way I wrote it up in the notes here is some broad at the Met Gala had a $22,000 purse made of ice.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
As in frozen water.
But it did have some kind of flour inside of it.
Yeah, I don't even understand how it worked. It just seems so weird to me. But of course, the point of the person posting this that I saw, they contrasted it with a picture of Flint, Michigan's still contaminated water, just for some contrast there. But here's the details in the ice purse. It was handcrafted and took 85 hours to make with an estimated cost of $22,500. It features water from the Nevas in Germany and a handmade rose with pure lines in 18-karat rose gold adorned in diamonds weighing blah, blah, blah. And I don't even know who that is. Oh, it says Camila Cabello.
Yeah, she's a singer.
Never heard of her.
I don't like her music, but I did listen to a good amount of it because my niece liked some of her stuff. But yeah, she's like a singer. She's whatever.
So yeah, people are still going on about the Met Gala. I mean, I guess it was like a week ago or whatever, but
the big thing about it, I think that really, kind of, and obviously I was going to try to not even talk about this, but you basically brought it up. The reason why it feels like there's this long hangover for the Met Gala is because Red Scare, they made everyone wait an entire week for their takes, and that's what everyone was waiting for. They did the Steve Saylor episode when everyone wanted the Met Gala response episode, and then it finally came out. And I don't know if you listened to it, but it's so fucking funny because it's like one of their longer episodes in a very long time, and they just are like not just really being fucking bitchy like the whole time. It's pretty bad, but whatever.
Yeah, I did not listen to that. And I mean, yeah, like I said on that episode that we did about Mr. Saylor, Mr. Noticer. Yeah, I can't really stand them. Until there's another topic that comes up that we think is good for the podcast, I probably will not listen to them again. But
yeah, that's fine.
I don't know. That's just because. Anyway, let's see here. The story's just fucked up.
Okay.
Castration Club's alleged ringleader who made, quote, testicle salad, sentenced to 22 years in prison. You want to guess what country this is in?
It's
your favorite country. Pedo Island, as some call it.
I mean, I have the article pulled up, so I do know, but I'm just trying to think of some fun guesses. Let's say, Malta? Is that a country? Yeah, no, obviously it is Pedo Island, as they call it. Actually, they call it Turf Island. But yes, it is the disgusting, the cradle of anti-civilization. I think most people should refer to it as.
So yes, in jolly old England, the alleged ringleader of a British-based body modification club responsible for the castration of nearly 60 men will spend at least the next 22 years behind bars. This guy is actually from Norway, Norwegian-born Marius Gustafsson. He made $250,000 through his website eunuch maker. Subscriber-only site featured footage of the actual castrations of group members. Wow. I do wonder, because they don't go very in detail on this, but like it seems like no one was coerced into this. This was like a voluntary thing.
Yeah. No.
So I wonder what the crime is that he's being sent to prison for 22 years for.
I guess cannibalism. I mean, yeah, like that's the thing. Like,
he did eat people's balls.
It says grievous bodily harm with intent. Like, yeah, like it sucks.
Yeah, but it was self-imposed.
Yes, but it's not. This is that libertarian talk. Oh, you should be allowed to like enter into a contract to do whatever to your own body. Like, that's kind of the thing. You're not allowed to do that. So, I don't know.
Yeah, this is upsetting. I'm really reading about this.
It's fine by me. I think it's pretty cool, actually.
This guy had his leg removed as well leg, penis, part of his nipple, because he wanted to, quote, look like a Ken doll down there.
It's pretty cool.
Which, like, I mean, I don't know, it's not for me, is what I'm saying.
Sure, but you don't want to yuck anybody's yum.
I guess so. Like, I think the reason I even included this is because what's actually more interesting is how quickly, and I guess unsurprisingly, in the comments, this just immediately turns into like bashing trans people. It's like, oh well, if they can do it, why can't these people? It's like as if it's equivalent. And I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if I want to get into this too much, but it's I don't know. I feel like there's something interesting to be said there, but maybe I'm not able to just really like articulate it at the moment. Like,
sure, okay.
Because people will have like people that are like, I guess what I'm saying is people like me and you who are like, pro, like not opposed to trans people. Might read an article like this and have like a kind of visceral reaction of like, oh, like what the fuck's wrong with this guy? And then when I scroll down and see people like comparing it to like gender affirming surgeries, I don't know. But also like there's like the cannibalism angle, which raises the stakes or whatever as well. Raises the stakes, as it were. But let's move on beyond that. That's just sort of like kind of news of the weird. Have you heard this? Have you heard this, folks? There's this another short one here.
Okay.
Which I titled in the notes, MTG gets verbally bitch slapped by fellow Congress member.
Okay.
This was on the Reddit Clever Comebacks. So Marjorie Taylor Greene made a derogatory comment about Representative Jasmine Crockett and false eyelashes during a House committee hearing.
Nice.
Personal attacks against other members aren't allowed, so AOC requested a motion and asked for an apology, which was blocked. Representative Crockett responded with, "I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad-built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?" So yeah, just
nice.
Throwing some shade with a huge amount of alliteration, by the way. Bleach blonde, bad-built butch body. Take that, MTG. She can dish it out, but she can't take it.
She can't handle it.
This Did you watch this video? It's like 20 seconds long. New York governor says many black kids do not know what a computer is.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Did you see the video though?
Yeah.
Like the video of this, and then I'm guessing it's the person who like made this short video is like on TikTok. It's
right.
a black gentleman, and he's like shirtless, and he's kind of like I mean, I don't know how else to say it. He's like moving in a very simian fashion, and like kind of trying to like biting a laptop, like showing like oh, I don't know what a computer is, right? And then the top half of the screen is the governor of New York saying some ridiculous shit about here. I mean, we don't have to like put the audio on the episode, but I can like read what she's saying. Right now we have young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is. They don't know these things. And I want the world to open up to them, because when you have their diverse voices innovating solutions through technology, then you're really addressing society's broader challenges. Yeah.
Pretty good.
I forgot the last time we brought up that lady. She said something fucking stupid as well, but I can't remember what it was. Anyway. Oh, we got to talk about JP.
Oh, sure.
Or at least like let's listen to these clips here.
Got a couple good ones.
Yeah, so Jordan Peterson went on a podcast called has a really annoying name, and I looked it up, and now fuck. Anyway, it's like a Catholic podcast, I found out. It's called like Brews with Aquinas or something like that. It's like, and maybe there's
Christ.
something.
No. Nope. That's illegal. Nope. Jail. Straight to jail. You can't call it something like that. No.
And he did like I'm assuming probably a very long. I was on their YouTube channel. God damn it. Was it Aquinas? Whatever. Pints with Aquinas, rather. Even better, so it's more British. And it is British. He's a British man with this podcast, whatever YouTube show called Pints with Aquinas. He had Jordan Peterson on, and in the corners of the internet where people make fun of Jordan Peterson, a bunch of clips started circulating from this podcast of him, and they're pretty fucking funny. So let's just have a listen here. Yeah, shout out subreddit Enough Peterson Spam. A good resource for all things mocking Jordan Peterson, basically. And they got a few of his videos, a few of these clips all laid out in a row. Beginning with this one. Heading above this video is, quote, "the most important intellectual in the Western world," which maybe someone has said of Jordan Peterson, which is sad. But here's what the most important intellectual in the world has to say.
And you think, well, there's no such thing as hell. It's like, have it your way, buddy. Can't you just, call the poor victims what they want? It's a byproduct of neural activity. It's, well, why isn't your solar plexus conscious then? You can't have a wood-burning fireplace. It's like, so these bloody nature worshippers. Oh my, everything's coming to an end. We have to act like there's an emergency. We have to lock everything down. We have to take everything from everyone. Why? So I can be seen to be the savior of the planet. You have to use pronouns. It's like, fuck you, buddy. Yeah. Seriously.
Why does he have to close his eyes?
Fuck pronouns, including buddy. Buddy is an unlawful pronoun.
He also basically does like a Burger King like ad. He's like, "Have it your way, buddy."
Yeah. Ooh, I think I might.
Next one. Here we go. Do you think there's life after death? Title: Peterson shits himself a bit, then quotes the movie Gladiator when asked if he believes in God. Also, that last video, when they literally put, because Peterson said, "Oh my God," and there was for some reason I thought, oh, like whoever's making fun of Jordan Peterson did that as like a joke, like against the podcast. But I just realized this time watching it, this fucking Pints with Aquinas guy probably did that because they're such devout Catholics. They're it's blasphemous to say, "Oh my God."
They're eating her, and then they're going to eat me. Oh my God!
They literally
Right.
censored him. And the fucking black bar like over his mouth said blasphemy.
Blasphemy. Yeah.
All right. Do you believe in God, JP? Give us your deep answer.
Do you think there is life after death? Even if you have no kind of a way of knowing that infallibly, do you act as if there is? Do you think there is?
Your actions echo in eternity.
I don't. What does that mean?
It's best I got, man.
That's probably my favorite
Best
part
I
of
got.
all of these. When he says the best I got, man.
Best
It's like
I got,
the most
man.
it's like the most self-aware he's ever been, ever.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, I fucking suck at this. What am I doing?
Yeah, I shouldn't. This is not. This is not my job. I'm not prepared for this. No, everyone keeps getting confused on what my degrees are in and what I'm qualified to do. Like that's Jordan Peterson. He's like, this is all.
Right.
This is the best I got, man. Like people keep thinking I know what I'm fucking talking about because I was a teacher or something. I'm in Canada. It's low stakes. We don't know.
He's a psychology professor.
I'm a psychology professor. Maybe that doesn't mean anything. I don't know about this stuff.
He wasn't even like a clinical. Maybe he was.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. No, I don't think he ever actually had a practice or anything. I don't know. Maybe, but either way.
I think mostly he was just like a teacher who would go off on like rants about pronouns and shit. And
No. He got famous for doing the I refuse to accept this made up thing. That's what I'm
saying. That's what I mean by rants about pronouns.
Right. He didn't actually ever go on rants though. Anyways, he did, but he got after
he got popular. Yeah.
He got notoriety for just saying I refuse to say the right thing because I might get in trouble for it, and they're like, you will not get in trouble. He's all, but you said that I might. They said no one is saying that you might get. No one is saying that you're going to get in trouble. Well, I refuse to do the thing that you're saying I won't get in trouble for.
Right.
Okay. Well, it's fine. You're not. Everything's fine. Well, I won't do it though, even though you say that there's no consequences and that I'm not in trouble, and you're not even telling me that I have to. I refuse to do it. And that's everything that he fucking did that made him popular or known or created whatever.
I was going to say also he had that YouTube channel where he was basically being the guru figure to all these disaffected young men. And
right.
I know when he started the YouTube channel because I did actually listen to Majority Report.
Yeah.
Take on this whole thing. Did you watch that one or hear that?
I did. It
was so funny. The thing about YouTube though, there's a clip from this podcast, the same podcast we're listening to right now, but where he's basically saying I was a visionary, I was a prophet, I knew YouTube was going to be huge before anyone else. And it's YouTube started in 2005, 2004.
He joined in 2016,
2013, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah, but still, that's pretty late to the fucking party for the prophet of YouTube. He's like people just he said until I started my YouTube show, it was all just cat videos.
Yep.
The fuck are you talking about, man?
That's true, man. That's it. Do you remember that famous YouTube video of the cat sneezing and the mom cat getting scared by the very loud cat sneeze?
Was it a cat one? I remember the panda.
That's I'm making a joke that the pandas were cats. Because he says it was all just cat videos.
Got it. I mean, there could easily be a cat one as well.
I know.
Okay.
In the cat enclosure in the zoo. Yeah.
You remember that cat singing Chocolate Rain?
Yeah. Remember that video? That was
I'm trying to think of old YouTube.
Do you remember the video where the cats would put auto-tune on popular news clips from Hillary Clinton and other politicians? Yeah.
Remember when Alex Jones was a cat?
Yeah.
That was good.
That was pretty good.
All right, this is the last one we'll listen to, I guess.
Perfect.
JBP regrets that he had Destiny on his podcast because JBP is now, quote, above Luciferian debate. Yeah. I only saw like a couple clips like from that stupid thing he did with Destiny, which didn't even seem like it was a debate. It seemed like I think it was so weird because it was supposed to be Jordan Peterson interviewing Destiny, but it was like Destiny was the one like holding like a notepad and like reading questions to him.
Right.
But anyway.
Well, that's the whole Destiny thing. Destiny is Mr. Too Damn Prepared,
Yeah. I mean, if I gotta pick one who's like less annoying, I would say Destiny, but
sure. I'm not gonna. And actually, can I ask you? I don't know how well you know Destiny and timelines and history and stuff.
I've only recently started like learning anything about him, and it's not much. So yeah.
Oh, that's the weird thing that's interesting to me too, because I feel like I've only recently started even hearing about Destiny and people like interacting with him or whatever. But in the video about Keffels, right, that people were talking about recently that came out, during that person said that like fucking Hassan and Vaush got their starts on Destiny streams. And I didn't know Destiny was that big, like that he was big before them.
Yeah, I think they all kind of like came up around the same time as the sense that I got from that. I thought it was more like they were all friends, but they had like, and they would go on each other's streams.
I guess, but on that video, he implied the way that he worded it. Maybe I just only read it that way. It sounded like he said that Hassan and Vaush kicked off their popularity from, like, they got a boost in the beginning from Destiny.
Yeah, I guess that was the way I took it.
I mean, I didn't know that. Yeah, I guess maybe.
Yeah, I had no idea. Like the whole like world of Twitch is kind of like
for sure.
That's like a foreign land to me. I don't know it very well at all.
Right, and now it's all just that Kai Sanat.
I also think like the format of Twitch is so fucking weird to me. Like, not this like streaming, whatever. You can do streaming on fucking everything now on like every platform, but like. The way that like the streamers on Twitch show like everybody's comments, and when you're like Destiny level, it's just a blur of like colors. Right. Like, what is the point of even having that up there?
I know.
I mean, I guess the freaks who are like commenting would just like to know that their comment is whizzing by on this fucking
they can see it
in tiny font, but it's so small. Right. It just looks like bullshit. Anyway,
right, and it's even funnier when you if you do. I don't know. I don't really like to watch it, but sometimes I'll watch like a stream and it'll be like Hassan, and you can see that like he's not paying attention to the main chat. Like the main chat is whizzing by on the side, but then sometimes they'll show like the screen that he's actually looking at.
Yeah,
and it's like a different version of the chat where like he can only see subscribers, or he can only see like paid chats, and like it's like moving insanely slow, and he can like scroll through it very easily because it's like all of the other chatter and noise is just like nothing to him. It doesn't exist. And that's the part where it does speak to like what you're saying. It's like, well, what's the fucking point of this? Because you're like chatting into just the ether. No one is paying attention to this.
It is just kind of throwing a bone to the hordes. But it's like, what are they? I mean, the question is, what are they getting out of it? And I guess it's some thrill of like just knowing that technically their words went by on this thing that like lots of people are watching. But anyway, that whole side tangent just makes me feel like an old man now as well. I don't understand Twitch. No, I mean, anyway.
Right.
So speaking of out of touch,
I understand it. I just don't like it. That's my take on Twitch. I understand it. I get it. I'm not confused by it. I just think it sucks. Yeah.
All right. Here's Jordan Peterson losing his mind about the concept of debate. And let's just listen.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
But I thought it ended well, you and Destiny.
Yeah.
You know? Because you even said, like, hey, we're getting everything out here. We're trying to We're trying to come to something, and sometimes you have to be a little unruly in how you seek it out orally.
The problem with the
so Kermity.
I found that likely the most. I had the most qualms about that podcast of any podcast I've done. Well, the reason is see, I learned this when I was like 24. I learned that I had a proclivity to battle verbally to be right.
Okay.
Right. And that was a status thing. I'm right, you're wrong. So, that redounds to my credit. I use my verbal intelligence as a weapon of dominance. Well, I stopped doing that when I was like 23. I thought, that's the prideful worship of the Luciferian intellect. It's a really bad idea. Like, seriously, it's a seriously bad idea. And so I don't like talking to people who want to be right. And Destiny wants to be right. And so I found it was out of my bailiwick because I usually talk to people who want to talk.
Yeah.
Right. And I can disagree with them. I disagree with Russell Brand about lots of things. We get along just fine.
Yeah.
Right. And the reason for that is that
hell.
Russell talks and listens.
Yeah.
He isn't hitting me with a hammer trying to be right.
Yeah.
And so I don't like those arguments. I don't like arguments.
No.
Oh boy, what a sad man. He's like,
It's pretty good.
I mean, from the few clips I saw, he just said the most embarrassing shit in that quote unquote debate with Destiny. Like, we talked about some of it, how he was saying like Nazis were actually left wing and then Destiny busted out the encyclopedia, the Wikipedia in his brain and like said a bunch of facts to prove him absolutely wrong. And I think they got into it about like vaccines and climate stuff, and like Destiny's basically kind of just a centrist lib type. So he I don't know, I'm sure he schooled Jordan Peterson on that stuff, because Jordan Peterson, when the times I heard him talk about climate change, is absolute insanity. It's just baseless, completely nuts. He's like no serious he said it on this podcast, even in some other clip, like no serious scientists believe in man-made climate disaster or whatever, however he phrased it.
And it's true.
Yeah, totally true. And him mentioning Russell Brand is kind of funny, because I did see a clip of his most recent thing with Russell Brand, and yeah, he gets along with Russell Brand because they're both equally losing their minds now. Russell Brand was saying some of the most
stupid as hell.
He was saying those unhinged shit, and he seemed like he was like on like a meth bender, or just having like a kind of like a manic episode or something.
Right.
Please be aware that I am apprised of the fact that the forms of tyranny that are emerging now, apparently in opposition to these old school, not to be repeated, let's face it, militaristic, demagogic, populist, strongman forms of tyranny that we're being continually warned of, are far more terrifying. The Kafkaesque, bureaucratic, banalized, invisible, dreadful. We're here to help. I'm afraid your inquiry can't be heard.
Anyway, of course they're gonna get along. And then I saw a few more clips from this thing, and it was like they were talking about like how cool it is that celebrities are like becoming Christians now. And Jordan Peterson said Joe Rogan, and the guy was like, Joe Rogan's a Christian? He's like, well, practically, he's got one foot in. I was like, what are you talking about, man?
He's right there.
It's like, Jordan Peterson, are you a Christian? Like, I don't even think he claims to be a Christian. I don't know. Whatever. These people are so full of shit. It's not even worth getting into. Anyway, that's Jordan Peterson losing his mind.
Hey, Pete.
More and more.
We love him. We all know him. We love him. We like to see him. We love hanging out with him.
He's our friend, my best friend. All right. Obviously, we're going to have to save a lot of this for later. Let's see, where are we at?
Yeah.
Maybe like just one or two more things and we'll call it a day. How about this fucking Johnny McEntee guy?
Okay.
The story I saw of this guy who I'd never heard of before. It sounded like you'd heard of him, because you sent me that like clip of him on Fox News.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had like, I kind I kind of heard of him here and there.
This guy, okay. I forgot to look up what Project 2025 is. Do you know what that is? Because that's what this guy's involved in. Let me just take a look.
No idea.
I'm sure it's something awful.
Presidential Transition Project, it says.
Yeah, probably. Project 2025 proposes criminalizing pornography, removing protections against discrimination based on... Oh, shit, I just lost it. Anyway, it's what you would expect. It's like a super far-right thing.
Yep.
Looks like they're collabing with like Charlie Kirk and all these fucking sick fucks. Yeah, it's basically a Christian nationalist movement. But so this guy, Johnny McKenty, he made a TikTok, or at least this video appeared on TikTok, of him showing how he carries around fake money to give to homeless people so that they will get arrested when they try to buy something with it. He says that he does this to help, quote, clean up the street. I like the first comment on this is a good point. I would point out the idiocy of publishing a recording of yourself saying that you knowingly pass counterfeit money, but it's not like the Secret Service are going to wrestle him to the ground and repeatedly jump up and down on him until they get tired.
Right. Or just have one, fascist prick kneel on his back of his neck until he dies.
Right.
That won't happen.
Yeah, because that's the point, is like George Floyd, his crime was what, trying to use like a counterfeit
Not
check?
Even, but yes. Yeah. His purported crime was passing counterfeit bills.
It was, Jesus.
And that's just like reported, that's not even necessarily, clearly there was obviously no proof or evidence, but that was just what the thing was.
Yeah, so this is just a first for me. I've never heard of anyone doing this before. It's like he's really innovating the game of being a fucking psychopathic right-wing asshole piece of shit. He's like, and he looks so proud of himself when he's talking about this, the video.
Right. I'll just say, I was just lying. I was just joking for the camera. That's fake, obviously.
Yeah, I'm sure yeah. You said you had something to say about this. This is a lighthearted story to go out on, I think. But you said
not really.
I mean, relatively.
Sure.
I think it's less depressing than I don't know, Project 2025. But I mean, what are your thoughts on Grandma thought she was texting with Robert De Niro, but her granddaughter saw through the scam? Quote, I couldn't stop laughing. So I mean, the title kind of sets up the story enough, right? I mean, this lady was getting scammed by someone who claimed to be Robert De Niro, but
pretending to be Robert De Niro. It's very funny. Obviously, I wanted to maybe read the details on this, and I don't know that
it's sad too. I feel bad for her for sure.
Sure, but kind of more my bit that I wanted to talk about this was that it feels like over the course of like the past couple of months or so, like this has become the new boogeyman. I don't know if you've noticed this, but like the mainstream kind of left-ish like media has talked about the spear phishing, right? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I haven't heard it put that
the
way.
Spear phishing scam. Okay, so the spear phishing scam is the thing where you get the text message and it's like, I had so much fun last night. Or, I know you told me to message you, but blah, 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 and this and that. And then you're supposed to, like, be like, you've got the wrong number, blah, 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 whatever. But then, like, once they get you to interact, then they continue to, like, build up whatever. And then, it's like a long con where they're, like, chatting with you and they're building up confidence, but it starts out with, like, just randomly cold messaging you with, like, whatever. And it's like kind of a similar thing. It's like doing the fake thing. And I have a friend who actually basically does a gimmick account on Twitter that's like pretending like he was a guy who falls for these things. And people just fucking love to just like talk shit. Like they act like they're like trying to help you, but they're also being incredibly fucking rude and condescending and, you know, and mean about it. And this is why, like, I kind of thought about it because, like I said, over the past couple of months, it's become like the new thing. Oh, you know, it's the spearfishing scam. And it's also like only the stupidest people among us, only the old, weak-minded, feeblest retards in the world actually fall for this. But also the people who are doing it are being like mistreated. And they're in like sweatshops and they're doing slave labor to them. And they're like exploiting the people who are doing it to you. So it's like this weird, like everyone involved is just, it's all so sad. Isn't it so sad? And we all hate, but people still have incredible contempt. It's like they try to mask it in this idea that it's like, it's your sad old stupid mom or grandma or whatever, who doesn't know how computers work. And isn't she such a funny idiot that she's falling for Robert De Niro? But then it's also the person pretending to be Robert De Niro. Isn't it so sad that he's, you know, I mean, he's from over there in one of those poor, you know, Asian-ish countries, and he can barely speak English good, and he's getting whipped, and you know, and he can barely eat and sleep, and it's really, but it's also sad because he's getting taken advantage of, and he's also kind of dumb, and they're all dumb. But we're good because we can laugh at them for that they're scamming each other, but they're also both being scammed, and they're poor, and they're slaves. But we know, and it's just like, why are they showing us this? Why has this been an interesting story that's important for you to know about over the last couple of months? And it is like this, you're better than them. Right? It's like, keep your eyes open. There is this scary thing out here that's trying to take advantage of you, but also you're better than these people and you would never fall for it. But, you know, but also you should feel bad for the people doing it too, but also you're better than them. And it is like, it's this weird, like, it's fucking like lib savior bullshit. And it is just there to pacify the masses, to be like, oh, you know, just keep your eye open and make sure that your dumbass grandma doesn't get fucking, you know, taken advantage of by fake Robert De Niro. But also, isn't it so funny? And it is like this, it's the way that media works now, where it isn't like you talk about having lighthearted stories. Is this a lighthearted story? Kind of. This is what passes for lighthearted now, because media is so fucked up that it's like, even the lighthearted thing still also has to twist the knife and be like, aren't these people fucking stupid though? Like, they're really stupid, and this is like, the light side of things is still like mean. And that's kind of like my thought on it that I wanted to talk about, but I don't know if you have any thoughts.
I mean, I guess with this particular, like, I think you're making good points about this, like, as a wider phenomenon, but like with this particular one, I kind of understand why, especially a trashy newspaper, and this is the weird but true section of the New York Post. I understand why they would print something like this, because it's just the Robert De Niro angle part of it. If it was just a regular scam, it's not even probably worth printing up, right? Like, it's not that interesting. But I mean, I don't know. I think there could be a mix of motivations, I guess, because like I'm sure there is. Now, I'm not talking about this specific article, but like just generally speaking, because this is also not something that's really that new. I mean, I remember watching like those kind of like those fucking like news shows from back, like, that were at their height, I feel like in like the 90s, early 2000s, like Dateline and like 2020 and all that shit. They would do pieces on stuff like this as like ostensibly as like, you know, a PSA, right? As like, you know, to help people, like, look out for this stuff. Here's what to look for. Because I don't know, there are a lot of old people get scammed, and it's, yeah, sometimes it's by people that are like in other countries who are like suffering under whatever boot. But there's also just like shitty scammers who are not like living in third world, global south type conditions, who do this kind of shit. But also, maybe I'm just thinking of the movies. 'Cause, anyway, that Jason Statham movie I was talking about the other day, the Beekeeper, like the whole like central plot point of that is like, there's just this huge network of like these scam centers that like drain people's bank accounts. But it's just like a bunch of call center type people, you know?
Right. But that's part of the same like media thing that I'm talking. That is actually part of the media like apparatus I'm talking about, where this has become like something. It's not like, you know, it's not everywhere or whatever, but it is like, it has become like a particularly popular thing to be talked about here and there.
I don't,
you know what I mean?
I don't disagree with what you're saying. I would just like say, I would add on to it that I think there is some genuine like PSA value thrown in the mix, maybe some. I'm not saying the New York Post is like giving a shit about like warning the old people or whatever, but I think in certain other like platforms or whatever, like it could be like useful. I mean, because look, there are people who do fall for the most insane shit, like thinking Robert De Niro's texting them. But yeah, I take your point about like it does feel kind of gross of like we're watching. This is like our version of gladiatorial combat or something. Like we get to watch the scammers scam the idiots, and the scammers are also idiots, and we get to feel like sort of smug and above it.
Right. But we feel bad for them, but also it's not me, and it would never be me because I'm smart.
That's a good note to wind down on.
Yeah.
I've got to
get scammed.
I meant the note of you saying I'm smart. But yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I've got a recommendation, a quick one. The movie Election. I like that movie. I just rewatched it last night and it holds up. I've rewatched it a few times over the years since it came out, but I remember seeing it in the theater, like going into it.
That's the one with the Jason Sudeikis?
No, this is way before. This is like 1999 movie. It's Matthew Broderick and Reese It was like Reese Witherspoon's first big movie.
Yes. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It's about like a high school class president election, and it there's like obviously a little bit of sort of allegorical commentary on like real politics, and it's like a little bit of I would say it's a dark comedy. Alexander Payne, it's his second movie. I think it's his best movie, although I haven't seen all of his yet. Some of his more recent stuff doesn't seem that great to me, but yeah, it's just I don't know. I find it like an oddly like comforting movie because I don't know, for some reason. I guess it's just, I don't know. I remember seeing it in the theater, it being like a really fun time at the movies in the theater, and maybe that's just like sticking with me. But no, it's like it's clever and it's funny and the acting's good, and Matthew Broderick is good at playing like a contemptible loser, and Reese Witherspoon is awesome as this like very uptight, like future Hillary Clinton-esque politician, like in the making.
Right.
Yeah. Great movie. I really like it. And you got anything?
I do. I just started a new show. And I don't know how new it is, but I just started watching it. It's called Bodkin. It's on Netflix. It said it premiered on May 9th of 2014, so I guess it's moderately new. And it stars Will Forte playing a American podcaster, which is very funny.
True crime podcaster,
and he
it
has,
looks like.
Yes, and they say it's a comedy thriller, dark comedy thriller. I don't necessarily find it particularly funny. I think the only thing about it that you could say is comedy is just Will Forte. But he's really kind of playing the same upbeat character that he does in everything. But the thing about the way that he can play a character like that is like he can play a character like that even in a serious setting, and it works, and it's not necessarily funny. But I definitely get why people would say, like, call it a comedy. I don't see it as a comedy at all. So far, maybe it'll get funny, but I doubt it because I'm like 3 episodes in and it doesn't seem particularly funny. But it is fun. It's very interesting. It's got a lot of, like, you know, I guess there is, like, some comedy with the interplay between him and the other main character, which is Siobhan Cullen is the actress. I don't know what else she's been in.
Yeah, I don't recognize her.
That people might know. And I'm kind of like looking at what she's been in, and I don't know that anybody would know. I think she's just like an Irish actress. She's done a lot of stage stuff, so maybe she's more of a stage actress. Either way, yeah, it looks like she's won some awards, stuff like that. So good for her.
Is Will Forte playing an American, or does he put on an Irish accent?
Yeah. No, he's American. He's American, and he's in Ireland, and his like number 2 person who's supposed to be helping him is Irish, but lives in England and has lived in England for a very long time. They have a researcher kind of gopher person who's British, and then they're in Ireland, and it's very interesting. I will say there's a lot. Feels like there's a lot going on. We're barely kind of building up into the backstory and kind of getting into it, but so far I've actually really enjoyed it. So I would recommend people check that out.
Sounds cool. I'll probably give it a look. I like Will Forte, generally speaking, and it's like the premise that I'm just reading here online is like a hard-nosed journalist grudgingly works with a true crime podcaster. I like that. I can imagine some like I could imagine comedy coming out of that, but like you're saying, not necessarily.
Right. Like I said, like I could definitely see how you could like look at that as like comical, but it's like frustrating. I don't know. I guess it is, you know, in some sense you could say
but
that
it's not
funny,
like
but
laugh
to me,
out loud fucking belly buster laughing.
It's been so far it's been more like friction and kind of like awkward and just like upsetting. I don't even really necessarily see that like the dealing between the two has been like funny. You know what I mean? The interplay between the two. I guess maybe partially right now it's like it's because she's kind of been just repeatedly proven right, I guess. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like when the person who's trying to be serious ends up, you know, being correct a lot of times, I just don't necessarily see how that's funny.
They could be
but you
setting
can
you
use
up,
that as
though,
like
for,
the build up,
yeah, exactly.
right? Right. Yeah, the big payoff is when finally the silly goof 'em up guy is getting everything wrong, and then like the big you know, the big payoff is like the silliest, stupidest thing ends up being he's right, you know? But eventually we'll get there. Either way, that's my recommendation.
I'll throw in fun fact. Bodkin is a dagger, a sharp-pointed weapon, at least in Shakespeare, in Hamlet.
Okay.
I don't know if that will add anything to the show to know that, but I did not know that. I just Googled the word bodkin, so you know that came up as well.
Right.
Well, I'm sorry, you were about to say something else.
Oh, I was going to say the same thing. I was going to throw in that a bodkin means a dagger.
Because you just had that knowledge
you
ready to go.
it.
Sorry. I didn't mean to steal
fine.
your
Okay.
bodkin thunder. All right. Well, we have a Discord. You should check that out. You can find that in the show description, along with a bunch of other things, links to show notes, links to the things we recommend and talk about. We have a website, heatdeathpod.com, and a bunch of other stuff, but you'll get led to that other stuff if you just check out them damn show notes, show description, episode description. And Tim has another podcast you should check out. What is that?
It's called Q&TR. It's a podcast much like this one, but we talk about professional wrestling.
Otherwise totally the same.
Really, so otherwise, yeah, basically it's the same. It's on the Violent People Podcast Network. You can check out Violent People at violentpeople.co, violentpeople.co. That's it, really.
All right, folks. Like I always say, keep on throwing Blinken in the windshield. Got 1,000 points of light for the homeless man. got a kinder, gentler machine gun hand. Good night. Good luck. Good morning, Vietnam. And scene.
Colors on the street, red, white, and blue. People shuffling their feet, people sleeping in their shoes. There's a warning sign on the road ahead. There's a lot of people saying we'd be better off dead. Don't feel like Satan, but I am to them. So I try to forget it any way I can.
The first voice recording was made in 1860. It was a 10-second fragment of the French folk song Au clair de la lune recorded by inventor Edward Leon Scott de Martinville. But who will make the final voice recording and when? What will it be? Who will hear it?